Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Gardening for Your Soul. I'm Jess, and wow, it is mid-August now, and we had a little bit of a reprieve from the heat and humidity, although this week it seems to have been coming back. But I just came back from a 5-day camping trip, and oh my, there is a good reason why people like me who do large gardens and don't have a lot of help outside of ourselves don't go on vacation. I'm going to show you a little bit this morning about, I'm not going to do a full garden tour, but I'm going to show you what happens when we go away, and that's just in 5 days. But one exciting thing that happens is what we come home to many times, and I'm going to show you that right now. So take a look at this beautiful harvest. This is what I got up to this morning when I decided to go out and start. I went water, and I got my butternut squash finally starting to come in. All that jungle that started out. So I got all my beefsteak tomatoes. Started getting around for in the shadow. But all the tomatoes, the peppers, my giant Marconi. This is what my giant Marconi actually looks like if you've watched some of my other videos. So these are the sweet Italian friars. I've got a little bit of zucchini left. My replants for my second planting of the season are starting to take off, so I'll show you those in a little bit. I got a green pepper that came in, but look at this bushel of butternut squash. I don't know what we're going to do with that, but it's going to turn into soups at least, a little bit of saute. And hey, with all of these peppers I can't keep up with, and the tomatoes, friends and family that are close, please start coming over. Get your butt in your car and come over and take some of this off my hands, because I can't handle it all. It's up for grabs for free. So my new bed is starting to come out pretty well. The basil's really coming in. The spaghetti squash is really starting to take off now. But, so this is what happens. This garden looks a mess. And like I said, I'm not doing a full garden tour this morning, but I just wanted to show you what happens. Believe it or not, all these weeds and everything came in after just 5 days. This bed here, this empty bed, this is actually going to get planted today with carrots, and I have some sugared snap peas that are going to go in here, and the fall greens and stuff. So I'll show you that later on today. But it's a mess. The sunflowers, they're all pretty much done. I had another sunflower that fell over here. The beans, well, they're just not doing all that great. But holy cow, everything is a mess. Even my pathways here have gotten overgrown. We've got the sweet potatoes over here are doing all right. These two zucchini, I am finally ready to pull. I've got one little zucchini here that'll be good for sauteing yet. I'm going to pull that, but all of these things, everything looks good as far as my peppers and tomatoes, but it's a mess in here. I've got a lot of work to do. So this is just my morning. I wanted to show you a little bit about what happens when we go away. And I'm going to come back tonight and complete this video and show you the work that I did, and a little bit more of a garden tour. One of the quick things that I wanted to talk about before we get back to the garden is something that I noticed when I was away, and something that has happened over the last couple of months, that when I went on this group camping trip, that I noticed has happened. And I was wondering if it's happened to any of you, because I didn't realize that it was something so gradual that was happening. I'm usually a really butterfly kind of personality. I like to talk to people. I really like to connect with people. And when I went to this group camping trip, we had been isolated, quarantined, whatever word you want to use, but we've been kept away from our friends, sometimes our families, so much in the last 6 months since all of this has happened with COVID, that we don't realize how much it's affecting us. And although some of us have gone back to work, some of us are still kind of in between that, have you guys noticed that it's actually difficult to start interacting with people again? And that's something that happened to me this weekend. When I first got to our camping trip, I noticed, although I wanted to socially distance, it wasn't just the fact that I wanted to socially distance, it was the fact that I had a hard time actually really connecting and talking to people. I feel like I'm actually connecting with my garden and my plants better than I actually connected with people. I sat back and I listened and I tried to interact, but actually talking and connecting and having those deeper conversations that I was used to having and came so easily before really seemed to take work. And it seems like I'm in my head more frequently, I guess, having conversations in my head more. And wow, what a difference. You know, the garden is so good for our soul. It's really soothing and it helps with so many things. But when we've been away from people and not having that connection for whatever reason, but you know, it seems that, you know, we've allowed this fear, this, whether, no matter how much we believe that there's an actual fear or an actual concern of COVID, or if it's going to turn into something like, you know, every year the flu comes up and, you know, we're just going to have to be concerned about an outbreak of that every year, and, you know, the vaccines come out and how effective are those going to be and everything. But you know, how are we going to go on with a normal life? What is the new norm going to be? How are we going to connect with each other again? You know, it was so good to be able to hug people, but even hugging people has become, wow, do I want to get that close to somebody? It's put up a wall with us. You know, have any of you guys noticed that? And, you know, I love my garden. I love hanging out in it, and it's really, like I said, it's really helped to soothe me, but I just wanted to, you know, kind of comment on that, almost like I don't know, like a bit of a diary of, you know, being able to do these videos and share a little bit of myself with you guys, because my gardening is such a piece of my soul, you know, a part of me, but this is also a part of me, you know, being able to connect with people, and it has really turned my world upside down. It's made me think, like, what is our new norm going to be? How are we going to go forward and still be able to connect? And are we going to continue allowing this fear, this separation, you know, the political arena, the social arena? How are we going to allow this separation to really keep pulling us apart? And where are we going to say, okay, I'm drawing a line. I'm not going to allow this to happen anymore, because it's important for me to continue to connect, to continue not just connecting with others, but with myself, and how that's affecting my normal everyday living. You know, so just wanted to share that with you guys a little bit, since these videos are really sharing a little bit of myself with my garden, but it's, you know, the spiritual aspect is, you know, you know, what's happening to us inside, what's happening to us in our head, and how that's affecting, you know, how we move forward and everything. So I hope that speaks to you a little bit. I will get back to the nighttime garden video a little bit. I'm going to connect that with this video, but I wanted to share a little bit of that with you guys this morning. So I hope you guys are having a great day. Hey guys, so it's the evening now, same day, same night, and I've been hard at work trying to get the garden back on track and getting some fall planting done. So I want to share a little bit of that with you, and a little bit of what fall planting actually means to a gardener who does succession planting, and a little bit about what you can do with your fall planting and some of the seeds that you can plant right about now. Because even though we've got a little bit of a heat wave that's coming next week, I think that there's some upper 80s, a little bit of 90s coming next week. This is the time to get some of your brassicas, which is the cabbage family, some of like Brussels sprouts, cabbages, some of the broccolis, cauliflowers, spinaches, lettuces, those kinds of things into the ground. And they don't always do well with the heat, but you can actually get the seeds in and help yourself with getting a head start on those. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of what I've done, some of the cleaning up I've done, and just, you know, give you an update on that, okay? Because I think it's been about 2 weeks since I've done a garden update, a garden tour. All right, so here is a little bit more. I did do a little bit planting today, put a little bit more Cosmos and filled in the new bed that I did. And just to remind you, the new bed that I put in with the spaghetti squashes and the I have the basils in here and the Cosmos. Those are going to be some pretty golds and yellows, reds, oranges when they start blooming. Those, this bed was actually created out of cardboard and pretty much putting in the mushroom soil. A little bit of peat moss, and let's see, down here is going to be a new zucchini plant that was planted in early August. So that's as easy as it is, putting in a new garden bed. So moving on, here's the cleaned out garden. So I got some stuff weeded. Definitely the pathways look much better. I actually have some sugar baby watermelons. Remember when you guys, when I planted these from seed? So here's the first one, not quite ready yet. It's about the size of my hand here, a little bit bigger than that. So I've got 2 of these over here that are looking pretty good, and then I've got a baby one over here. So that's super exciting. Tomato plants are coming along. These are this is a Roma or a plum tomato, I believe. That's got quite a bit on it. This black crim, it's looking okay, looking a little sickly. I need to cut that back. But over here is the biggest thing that I want to be able to talk about tonight and what I'm doing. This is the fall planting that I've got going on. So what I'm doing here is the first line here is the sugar snap peas. Now these are the Sugar Daddy. Ooh, I can't really see with the light here. Hold on. There we go. Sugar Daddy snap peas here. That's what's going to go in this first line. Now what I have done here, I mended the soil with some, it looks a little bit wet because I actually wetted it down first. And that's it's good to do that because it helps to keep the seeds when you're planting from seed. Helps to keep the seeds in place before you put them in. So I wet it down. I put the peat moss in to amend it. That helps the acidity in the soil because generally vegetable plants like acidic soil. And then what you see here, this lighter kind of soil, this is actually called Plant Tone, which is by Espoma here. And I do not have any kind of relationship with them. That's just the product that I like to use. They're an organic, non-GMO product that I like to use. But Plant Tone actually helps to amend the soil and give it a little bit extra food. So I've done that because I'm not putting any other organic material in here other than those 2 things to rehab the soil. So that's what you're seeing here. And then I'm going to, what I've done is just basically I push the seed into the ground there about 1 inch down. And then I'm going to cover that up. These over here, this lettuce, this is Butter Crunch. I actually got this today at, where was I at? I was at Glick's nursery. And I did that. Sometimes it takes me a little while to get the seeds going. So sometimes I will actually get some seedlings from some of the local nurseries I like to go to. And then I have some lacinato kale over here. Now, if you look at this kale, I know it looks a little sickly. What happened is when I got it from the nursery, when I brought it back, it actually had some worms that were in it. Either that or they were on them when they got on them when I came here, when they got to my house and started eating them back. So they've grown some leaves back and they're going to be actually fine, you know, in probably a week or so. So that's all I planted so far. This green thing in the middle, this is called a mold chaser. So this puts out a supersonic sound that goes underground, hopefully to keep the moles, voles, and all the problems that I have in my soil, and likes to eat all the stuff. I'm hoping that it helps to keep them away. It's one of my other tactics non-chemical tactics to help. Next thing I'm planting, I haven't done this yet, but this is going to be my dragon carrot. I'm going to be planting that, and I'm going to use some sand, all-purpose sand, that I'm actually going to mix into the soil along with the peat moss to try to make it a little bit easier for the carrots to dig down. And what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to be able to show this to you, I'll do this in the next video, but I'm going to sprinkle them on top of the soil, and I'm going to put a board down on top of it and leave that for about 2 weeks. This is apparently the best way to get them to germinate. I haven't ever done it this particular way, but I hear that it's one of the best ways to work with them. So, and then the other things that I am working with tonight to get to grow, I'm going to do some spinach. For this is a high mowing. I'm going to do the Corvair spinach, winter density romaine lettuce, and some Shelby spinach. Actually, I won't probably do all of those different kinds of spinaches. I've got to decide which one that I want to do of the spinaches, because I'll probably only do one of the 3 types. But those are the ones that I'm working with right now. I've got some golden beets that I want to plant in this this raised bed also, and get those started. I do have some seedlings that have already started, but I need to get those planted in here. So anyway, let's see, what else do I got down here? These basil are really doing well. The mortgage lifter tomatoes are doing well. Over there's another Roma. And I think over here, I got this cleaned out tonight. I think I'm going to put cabbages in. I think I actually bought some kohlrabi. I have never grown that before, but I'm going to do something new, something adventurous. So if any of you have ever done that before, give me some comments and let me know how that's doing. These are my silver slicer cucumbers that I started a couple of weeks ago, and they're doing quite well. So I'm super excited for those. We'll see, do updates and see how those are doing. My zinnias, you guys are well aware of how those have been doing, and they're still going strong. Butternut squash, although it's a jungle out there, they just keep going and going. I harvested so many of those, but we got quite a bit hanging yet, and on the ground, they're everywhere, and I still have more and more that just keep showing up. My beans over here, I don't know. They didn't do so well up here. I'm going to do different kind of beans next year, see if I have better luck. Definitely going to do different things. Over here, if in some of my other videos, do you guys remember me talking about these flea beetles? I still have them, and these eggplant, I just can't get rid of these. I have not had good luck with my eggplant. I do have a little baby eggplant that finally started to develop here, but they're just really not doing well. I don't know if it's not the right location, if the flea beetles have just done such a bad job on them. I just don't know. So kind of a failure there, but that's what happens with gardening. You just find out what happens and do better next year. These are my leeks, which need to be harvested because they're basically done. They're ready to go. So that means potato leek soup. And let's see, moving on. Oh, here's a huge, look at this big open spot. I just pulled those 2 zucchinis. I think this morning I had shown what I was going to do. I was ready to pull those. So here is the very big, large area. This is where the new zucchini is going to go, but I need to amend the soil in here because there's a lot of squash bugs, and it definitely needs some new stuff because it's been, the zucchini that was there before really sucked up a lot of the nutrients. I've got a little bit more work to do on this side because these pepper plants definitely need to be pulled up a little bit. This is starting to get pulled down because of all the peppers that are on this particular stem here. So I don't want that to be broken off. Over here, same thing with these tomatoes. These are still really going strong. I harvested quite a bit of the, these are the beefsteaks, and they're doing really, really well, very healthy, as well as the sun sugars. And I gotta tell you, these sun sugars, if you have never had a sun sugar, I know I've talked about this in my other videos, but oh my God, the flavor in these are just amazing. And they keep getting better and better. If you have never had one, you have got to try these. Sometimes I think they put these out in the stores, but from a greenhouse, you just don't get the same thing. You've got to try these. If you ever see them in the greenhouse, or I should say in a nursery, as a seedling at the beginning of the season, and you get a chance to grow these, it's definitely hands over anything. You can definitely get it over a cherry tomato. Not acidic, definitely won't burn your mouth. It is the way to go. Get a sun sugar, my favorite. Okay, let's see. So back here, the Amish paste are still going really, really strong. Got a little bit of, I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, you can put these in comments. I think this is called cat facing. I can't quite remember if that's exactly what it is, this cracking along here. It doesn't mean that the tomato's bad, and I can't quite remember what it comes from. I have to do a little research, but it does happen with the tomatoes. Comes up a little bit with some of these other ones, and I've noticed that the Amish paste tend to have a little bit more with that than some of the other types of tomatoes, so I don't know if that's common with those or not. Here's something super exciting. I don't know, I think I've talked about my loofah plant, that this is the one that really did well in the trellis. And you can see that there's a couple that I've had that really grew over in the trellis. But here, this is what a loofah gourd actually looks like. Look at the size of this. How exciting is this? And what will happen with the loofah gourd? You don't eat this. This is what will dry out on the vine. And we'll eventually, once it dries out, we'll peel it, and it will be able to dry out and become a loofah sponge. I'll be able to cut it into pieces and use it. I'm actually planning on making it as Christmas presents this year as a sponge. So I have that one. I think there are some other ones in here too. If I come around the side here, there's another one up here. I did give one of these loofah plants to a friend of mine, so I know she's got some that are coming in. Here's another one. So far, oh, there's another one up there. So the loofah gourds are coming in later than expected, but obviously they really start developing and maturing later in the season. But that's really exciting. I haven't grown loofahs in a couple of years, and it's just so neat to see them coming in. I harvested... This is a big surprise. I harvested a green pepper off of this, and even through the butternut squash that went crazy, it actually did not completely take over and take out this green bell pepper that's over here. And I also have another one over here, but that one really hasn't produced anything yet. Remember the Tithonia, the Mexican sunflower that I had to pull back, or I had to that was taken out by Isaias? That came through? Well, I'm finally going to take these out. I've got some beautiful fall mums that I'm going to put in this spot, and I'm going to actually finally pull out the rest of this and be done with that for the season. My mint is starting to grow back a little bit now that I had cut it, and I'll have some of that for the fall yet, so we can so I can harvest that and grow a little bit more. But the garden's doing well. I feel so much better. Having a day in the garden, there's just something to be said about having your hands in the soil after, having a week. I had a great relaxing camping trip, as I said this morning in the video, and it was a really great camping trip. I really enjoyed myself. I know some of my friends love these videos and they've been watching, and I'm so appreciative. Hi guys. And, you know, it was tough for me to, really be able to connect with them at times, and I felt kind of bad about that. But getting back to the garden and getting my hands in the soil really just helps to ground me. And if you have not been able to get out into your garden recently, um, it's really get out. Take some time to do that. Because if you do have any anxiety, if you're having a bad day, if you're in a bad mood, this is the time to really do that. I think it's almost 8 o'clock at night, and I don't care that I haven't had dinner yet. I don't care that I've got other stuff to do. This is where I want to be because I feel so at peace right now. I feel all is right in the world. I don't really care what's going on politically. I don't care what's going on in the world that could possibly be as, the most horrible things that are going on, because right now in my world, things are right. Things are okay. And that's the best that I can do, because I can't change anything else but what's going on right now for myself. That's all I can control. Everything else, well, you know what? I love, and I will send that out to everybody else, but this is what I got. Me right here. And that's pretty much what I got for tonight. So I did a little bit of a garden tour, showed you what I did. Didn't get to, clean up the down sunflowers yet, and I got some exciting things that I'm going to be doing and changes that I'm going to make for the garden in the coming weeks, and I'll be able to share that with you guys later on and stuff. In the meantime, I really thank you for hanging out with me. And I want to remind you guys that I know that I end up posting this on YouTube and then share it to Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube and you have a YouTube account, please like and subscribe my channel. It really does help me in the long run, and it helps to keep me motivated to do these videos, because I really enjoy this. I enjoy sharing my life and how I'm feeling, and how this is affecting, not only myself, but how I'm helping you. And I'd love to be able to hear and see more of your comments. If you're seeing my channel for the first time and you like a little bit about what I have to say and you want to see more, again, subscribe my channel. I would love to be able to, see and hear from more of you. So thanks so much for being with me. Once again, I love you all and I bless you. Thank you so much.